Okay, Wes. So you watched the informative video on Cambridge Analytica and Facebook, and now you know since then, since this scandal came to the surface, um, Facebook has been getting in more and more hot water. Um, and you may be aware, for instance, that just last week, um, New York Times ran an article that said that Facebook knew about the extent of the Russian interference pretty early on and didn't alert people to it. Sort of, first Mark Zuckerberg said that he didn't believe that Facebook had any influence on the election, and then they found that the Russians had spent $100 and something thousand on the self-serve platform on Facebook, buying ads to influence voters to vote Republican. And by the way they found that was that the bills were paid in rubles. um, and then more and more things. Then eventually it came out that all of the, I'm not going to say the FN word, but all of that bad information, made up news, reached something like 180 million people on Facebook. So it was a huge vehicle for Americans to have their opinions influenced by a foreign entity. Such a thing has never happened before. I mean, all foreign entities, even you look back to World War II when the Nazis were before America entered the war, were trying very hard to influence the isolationists and and influence America not to enter the war with various spokespeople in the media and other types of campaigns. But it was limited because the overall media companies wouldn't allow it. And now that anybody can put up anything they want, there's no filter. They basically took advantage of that. And also it came out that Facebook, in attempting to fight against people it perceived as its critics or rivals, engaged what's called like a black ops firm, not really a lobbying firm, but a firm based in Washington whose specialty is to dig up dirt on opponents and leak that. And this firm was going against other large internet companies like Google, releasing negative information, trying to slant things about them, claiming that different people or entities were anti-Semitic. I mean, a lot of things going on out there that Facebook was involved with that are not very impressive, good, or positive. So Facebook has had a lot of problems. Now, my friend who used to work there left the company about 6 months ago and has a new, also very good job. But I have not talked to him about it, and he would not be the type of person who would tell me why he left, but because he's very careful. That's one reason he's so successful. He doesn't want to get quoted, something like that. Could get back to the wrong people. And but my guess is, as smart as he is, that he got out of a ship that's starting to sink a little bit. There are even people talking about looking at Facebook as a monopoly and wanting to break up the company. Same thing with Amazon. Well, we talked about social networks. I'm just going to flip back a minute. And we talked about some of the problems with Google and the fact that all this information can get up there and some of the negatives. But in terms of how how these things are used for advertising, we did talk about the self-serve platform and how you can target. And by the way, Facebook has tens of thousands of different interest groups and things that you can find and target. And you know what's going on. I mean, a lot of Facebook's revenue, by the way, is mobile these days because they're inserting video, etc., into people's news feeds. And you know, it's basically the types of ads we talked about: banner, video, Rich Media, etc. But it's appearing in what we're doing in our social networks, so it's not too mysterious. And obviously, Facebook is not the only social network. Instagram, we know, is very big. You guys mostly don't even use Facebook. But that's little top line information about social media, maybe some of the issues. Affiliate marketing is an exclusively pay-per-click or pay-per-result sort of ad program. This is where, for instance, at 1-800-Flowers.com, we would let any website run our ads. We would provide the standardized ads for different holidays, different times of year. They could run them, and then we'd set up a link so that any sale that came about due to that particular website, they would be paid a percentage, 20 or 30% of the sale, and didn't much care how big or small the site was. We're not putting any money up. We're just giving you an ad to run, and we're paying for results. And so that's called an affiliate marketing program. And it's called long tail, means when we look at sort of the different sizes of internet companies, you see a big hump on the top, right, with some of the players that we talked about, Facebook, Google, etc. And then as we get down, you get down to the point where you're almost at no size, and then the trail for the rest of the billion sites out there just goes on and on and on and on and on with a bunch of small sites. And that's what an affiliate program is. You can go out to all those small sites and give them some income, etc. Email marketing is a big deal, particularly in the world of communicating with your customers, communicating with your own customer list and your own database. And I know all of you have relationships with different companies, and you've opted in to get email communication, and they regularly ping you with different offers and things like that. And that's a lot of what's done in email communication. It's very cheap. You can see it's like fractions of a penny per email. And so it's replaced direct mail. It's replaced a lot of things as a very effective. It's cheap, and not that many people open them, but enough open it that you can make a lot of money if you're effective with your messaging. MailChimp is a company that, let's go to the site, one of the better known companies that manages email marketing campaigns. And in fact, in my database class, which is it's a 3-level class, pretty much everybody in the class, each team builds a database, and they use MailChimp to do email campaigns against the database. Then we can turn this off here. This is part of what the whole Facebook thing has caused, right? Everybody having to verify that they don't mind being tracked and having their data looked at. So there are other companies other than MailChimp, but you can do a lot of things on MailChimp. And a lot at smaller levels, it doesn't cost anything. Like for my class, it didn't cost anything. Okay. You create nice HTML emails. Helps you create. Okay, email automations. So like MailChimp could track opens of the email and clicks on your link and all kinds of stuff. Give you all kinds of good data about your email, whether they're being opened and whether they're being clicked on and all kinds of stuff like that. Let's look at this guy for a minute. And they are really good at email. Hang on, everybody. Okay. Of course, the key issue with email is clutter. That's a picture of clutter. Your inbox is just way too full. And that's why open rates are low and heading lower. And that's why the subject line is so important with an email. I want to talk a little bit about an email marketing campaign that Hive, my company, did with 1-800-Flowers.com. And so if you hear snoring sound, by the way, that's not me. That's my assistant, Eloise. She snores when she's happy. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Anyway, so one of the things we did with Choice Hotels, other than selling ads on the Wi-Fi landing pages, was to sell ads in the reservation confirmation emails that Choice sends direct to customers that book with them. In other words, the customer doesn't go through Hotels.com or something like that, or Travelocity or whatever. And for Choice's ad campaign, bada book, bada bing, or whatever it is, that all they're talking about is booking direct with them because they don't have to give up that little percentage and they make more money. So this email goes out to 4.5 million email addresses every month. It has a 90% open rate, obviously, because people want to look at their reservation confirmation details and make sure the dates are correct and the dollars and everything are there, and they can get their reservation confirmation number, et cetera, et cetera. So Choice wants us to sell ads in the emails. And so I went to 800 Flowers prior to Mother's Day in the spring and got them to run an ad that looks like this. And you click on it and go to the site and place an order. And they were paying us on a pay-per-order basis, which 800 Flowers almost always does, 30% of anyone who ordered from our site. Now, there were some very important issues on this email, and it has to do with spam and the CAN-SPAM Act in terms of what you can do and what you can't do in an email. Now, the issue with this email is that the question is whether we could run ads in it at all, because this is a transactional email. No one has opted in to getting an email from 800 Flowers. We're basically piggybacking and sort of sneaking into your eyeballs on the back of a Choice reservation confirmation email. So my boss, the guy I work with at Hive, his name is Kerry, explored this issue. And he happens to have a brother who was active in writing the CAN-SPAM Act, which you can read here. And you'll see the underline, there are no specific rules regarding the placement of the ad above the fold or below the fold, the size of the ad, percentage of the message being transactional data versus commercial data. It's a gray area open to interpretation. And so, but what happened was